Okay, we have Zion, Zion. Okay, not Zion, Zion, but
Yeah, Kaftet sign.
the remnants of a prod from above. Its measure is 4 handbreadths. The handle of a spade, its measure is 4 handbreadths. The handle of a mattock for pounding is measured 5. The handle of a small hammer, its measure is 5 handbreadths, and that of a hammer is 6. The handle of an axe for splitting wood and for hoeing, its measure is 6 handbreadths, and the handle of a stoneman's chisel, its measure is 6 handbreadths. The remnants of the blade from below, its measure is 7 handbreadths. The handle of a householder's shovel, Beis Shammai says its measure is 7 handbreadths, and Hillel says it's 8. It's 8 handbreadths. The handle of a shovel of plasters, Beis Shammai says its measure is 9. Beis Hillel says the measure is 10. If the length of the handle is more than this, and he wishes to preserve its length, it's tamei. And the handle of utensils that are used for fire, the measure is any length. Regarding glass utensils, the flatware are tahor, but the hollowwares are tamei. If they break, they become tahor. If one remade the broken utensils into new utensils, they're susceptible to tumah from then on. A table and a kulta made of glass are tahor. If they have a rim, they are tamei. And regarding the bottom of a plate and the bottom of a kutla is made from glass, which one has designated for use as tahor. If we smooth them and we shave them with a file, they are tamei. Okay.
Okay. Now, asperclaria. Do you know? Do you recognize the term asperclaria? From asperclaria meira. That's what. That's how Moshe Rabbeinu saw Kadosh Baruch Hu asperclaria meira, and all the other Nevi'im were she'ena meira. They all had a sort of a fuzziness to their vision, where Moshe was like absolutely clear. Right. So this asperclaria here is the looking glass, and it's completely flat, and therefore it is tahor, right? Just like we said yesterday about glass flatware. Now, a tamchoy, yeah, let's say you've got a glass dish,
right?
And you decided, so the glass dish obviously is tamei because it's got a receptacle. Now he decides that he wants to turn this into a mirror. Now, sometimes you have mirrors, like especially when women want to put on makeup. There's a slightly convex mirror that that shows your face in much greater detail. Right. So he coats it with all the silver stuff on the inside, and then you look at it from the outside. Then that's going to give you that convex look. Okay, so now he takes that and but without coating it. We're talking about without making any alterations, and that's an important point over here. This tamchoy that he turned into a mirror remains tamei. Okay, why? Because it was originally a kli. That we're following the principle over here that in order to take something that's already a kli and turn it into something that is no longer tahor, that is tahor, you can't. Das is not enough. You actually have to make a physical change to it. So, for example, like I just said, if he took a sort of a silvery coating and put it on the inside so it would be made into a mirror, you say, okay, this is now tahor because he actually made a physical change. But if he just sticks it up and uses the plain reflectiveness of the glass and says that's going to be a mirror, that hasn't changed it enough. His das is not enough until he makes a physical change. So if it was originally made as a mirror without ever being intended to be a dish, then that in itself is enough to make it tahor because it was never intended to be a dish. So a spoon that's put on. So we're talking about a glass spoon. Obviously, we're talking about the chapter of glass. Okay. So the spoon that if he puts it on the table, im makabel kol shehu tamei im lav. Okay. So if when you rest the spoon on the table, does it fall over or not? And that's more like thinking more like a ladle. That's more of a sort of thing where it would fall over to the side, because most teaspoons would be designed to sit on the ground and be able to hold at least a little bit. But if not, if it doesn't hold anything when you rest it on the table, Rabbi Akiva Matame, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Matahir. So there's a machlokes now, and it now normally we say that it's something that cannot hold when it's resting is tahor. But we had an exception to that. If you recall, the torch, the flaming torch, the lapid, which has got that long, it's got a long, thin base, which if you put it on the ground, it'll fall and nothing will remain in it. But the thing is that it's made to be put in a bracket.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Therefore, we said the lapid is tame. Okay, but so now our situation is of a spoon, which is made to be held in the hand. And that's what Rabbi Akiva is saying, is that a spoon is made to be held in the hand. I don't care if it holds on the table or not. Nobody intended to be a storage device, but it is meant to be held in the hand, and therefore it is tameh. Okay, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says, look, when it came to the lapid, they had to say that it was tameh because the kli cheres there is tameh d'oraisa. But here we've got a spoon which in the first place is tameh d'rabanan because it's glass. Okay. And so I'm not going to be gozer any further on it. If it can't hold anything when it's resting, well, I'm not going to be gozer. Anyway, the halacha follows Rabbi Akiva. Kos shenif gam rubo. So you got a glass where most of the rim has been damaged, been chipped.
Right.
You know what it's like to have a glass. Now, if you've just got a glass with one little chip on it in it, you might tolerate it. Because you can drink from the rest of the cup. Okay, but once the majority of the rim has been chipped, then nobody's gonna keep it. It's gonna get thrown away, and therefore it's straight away tahor. Nifgam bo shalosh berabo tahor. So in the next picture, you see it's got 3 chips, right. and if you put the 3 chips together, the furthest ones apart, they cover a majority of the circumference. Then again, it's tahor because you're going to battle to find a comfortable place to drink from. Rabbi Shimon Omer, sorry, I just skipped the page. Rabbi Shimon Omer, im mefazer hu esrov hamayim tahor. His criterion is not how many chips it's got or where they are around the edges, but will the glass hold its majority volume of water? So it's more stringent than the Tanakama. The Tanakama says that it loses its tumah even if only part of its lip is chipped. According to Rabbi Shimon, the only damage that would allow the majority of the cup's contents to leak out of the effect. Okay, so that would happen if the cup develops a crack, even a very thin crack that extends from the top of the cup downward. Okay, but so in some aspects this is more stringent, but in some aspects it's more lenient. It's a leniency over other materials, we're saying, but yeah. Okay. Because other materials can remain tameh even though they only contain a little bit of liquid, whereas with glass he's more lenient because we're starting off glass is only tumah d'rabanan. Nikav, what happens if it's punctured? Tahor. So if he patched up the hole in the glass with tin or with pitch, that's not going to stick because they don't adhere well to the glass, and so it's a temporary fix, and therefore the glass will the glass will be tahor. Rabbi Yossi Omer bat tameh ubezefes tahor. He says no. He distinguishes. He says with tin can be pressed into the shape, and it's quite strong. How does he say it? He says that tin plug is considered a proper plug. Because if one is careful with the glass and does not agitate the plug too much, the plug will remain in place for a long time. So therefore he says it's repaired and therefore it's tameh. But with zefes, he agrees with pitch, it's tahor. That's not going to last long. Anyway, halacha is like the Tanakama, not like Rabbi Yossi. And now, final Mishnah. So look, it's a small glass bottle, shenit al piha, where the mouth, the neck, has broken off, like in the diagram over there, is tameh. No, you'd think why would this be tameh? And then contrasted with the next case, ugedola shinin talpia, but a large flask where the neck is broken off is tahor. Okay. Why would these two be different? Okay, the reason being because a small one can be. There are a few reasons. One, a small one can be held in one hand. Okay, it's not, and just because the neck is broken doesn't mean it's you can't put liquids in and pour them out. It doesn't obstruct your usage of them so much. Whereas a large one, if you have to carry it with 2 hands, now your other hand is going to start saying, I normally would grab it by the neck, now I can't because it's now got sharp edges all over. Okay, and other reasons because the neck. So people commonly use the jug by inserting their hands into it and drawing liquid out, like with a small cup. So when the neck breaks, people discard the jug because they'll cut themselves when they're sticking their hands into it. But with a small bottle, that's not happening anyway. Okay. Shel paliaton shenital piha. Now, what about a paliaton? That is like a bottle of balsam oil. Okay, if its mouth is broken off, it's tahor mipnei shehi sorachas isayad. Because again, this is something where you put your finger on the neck in order to get the oil out. You put your finger on the aperture and turn it over to get a drop of oil. If the neck is broken off, that's going to be dangerous for your finger. Leginin gedolim se'nit halpihin. Now, what about large glass jars? Okay, where the mouths broke off. They're tame mipnei shehu misaknan lekavshan, because these large things would be set aside anyway for pickling, and it doesn't affect so much because you're not picking it up and moving it. When you put something down for pickling, you leave it there, so that still retains its tuma. Apar case shelzuchis tahora, and the grinding funnel made from glass is tahor. Okay, so if you have a funnel leading into your mill that's made of glass and you pour things into it, because it isn't actually containing anything; it's just funneling.
Right. Okay.
And we saw this actually with other materials, that if you have a funnel is also tahor because it's not a container; it just lets things through. So now the question is asked: if like a klicheres, if a cheres funnel is tahor, why do we even mention a glass one? Because obviously a glass one is not going to be more stringent than something d'oraisa. And the reason is because we wanted to finish with the next sentence. We wanted to finish with a psak of tahor.
You like the sentence, I know that.
Right. Amar Rabbi Yossi, Ashrecha Keilim, Ashreich Keilim. How fortunate are you? Shenichnast betuma beyatzas betara. Because we started out talking about with the 10 levels of tuma.
Right.
Okay, and now we ended up with a psak of tahor. Behajan Allah Maseches Keilim. Okay, and tomorrow we start Oalos. All right, let's go back to Kaf Zayin Ches.
Okay. Concerning a sheet that contracted midrash tuma and was then made into a curtain, it becomes tahor from midrash tuma, but it is tameh due to contact with the midrash. But Yossi says why, which midrash did this sheet touch? Rather, in contact tuma only if the zav himself touches it, rendering it tameh with an account of the zav's touch.
Hold. Which Mishnah are you in here?
I'm doing that.
You're in Tet. Okay. You were going to start with Ches, but so finish Tes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So you did Tes already. So come back to Ches and we'll jump back to Yud.
Similarly, if a piece of cloth that was woven in the size of 3 finger breadths by 3, contracted corpse tuma, and subsequently when finished, the whole piece of cloth and afterward one thread was removed from the original cloth, it became tahor from corpse tuma, but it is tameh due to contact with mace. If one thread was removed from the original cloth and subsequently when finished, the whole piece of cloth is tahor. But because the comment said, if a piece measuring 3 finger breadths by 3 finger breadths is lessened, it is tahor. But if a piece measuring 3 hand breadths by 3 hand breadths is lessened, even though it is not susceptible to midrash tuma, it is still susceptible to all other forms of tuma.
We can jump to 10 now.
Yud. If a cloth that is 3 finger breadths by 3 finger breadths was divided, each half is tahor from midrash tuma, but it's tameh due to contact with a midrash. If Yossi says why, which midrash did this cloth touch? Rather, each half is tameh only if the zav himself touched the garment, rendering it and tameh on account of the zav's touching.
Okay. Yud Zayin Yud Daled.
There are some items that were created on the first day that is susceptible to tuma. That which was created on the second day is not susceptible to tuma. That which is created on the third is susceptible to tuma. That which was created on the fourth and fifth days are not susceptible to tuma, with the exception of a utensil made from the wing of an ox and plated on mama's egg. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nori said, "What is the difference between the wing of an ox and the wings of all other birds? Everything that was created on the sixth day is tameh. If one makes a receptacle, in any case, it's tameh. If one makes a bed or a seat, it is in any case, it's tame. If one makes a purse from an untreated hide or from papyrus, it is tame. If a pomegranate, an acorn, and a walnut that children hollowed out to measure sand in them, or so that they fix to be the pan of the scale is tame, but they have an act, but they do not have intent. The beam of a balance scale and the level that have a receptacle for holding metal, a carrying pole that has a receptacle for holding money, a pauper's cane that has a receptacle for holding water, and a stick that has a receptacle for holding a mezuzah and pearls. These are tame. Regarding the law of all these utensils, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says, "Woe to me if I say it, and woe to me if I do not say it."
Okay.
Yeah, Kira,
Precis.
okay, above. There was a piece of Keilim and a piece of sanctified fat. If he ate one of them and is not known which one they ate, he must bring an asham betuli. If he ate the second piece, he must bring a katos and an unconditional asham. If one person ate the first piece and other came and ate the second piece, this one must bring an asham tulay, and that one must bring an asham tulay. Rav Shimon says they both have bring a katos and an asham, and Rav Yossi says they do not bring a katos and an asham. There was a piece of Keilim and a piece of sanctified Keilim, and if he ate one of them and it is not known which one he ate, he brings a katos. Now, Akiva says he must bring an asham today. If he ate the second piece, he must bring two katos and an unconditional asham. If one person ate the first piece and another came and ate the second piece, this one must bring a katos and that one must bring a katos. Now, Akiva says this one must bring a katos tuli, and that one must bring an asham today. Reb Shimon says this one brings a katos, that one brings a katos, and both must bring one asham. Rabbi says two do not bring one asham. If there was a piece of Keilim and a piece of Keilim that was no sir, if he ate one of them and it is not known which one he ate, he must bring a katos and an asham tuli. If he ate the second piece, he must bring three katos. If one person ate the first, another came and ate the second, this one must bring a katos and an asham tuli, and that one must bring a katos and an asham tuli. But Rav Shimon says this one brings a katos, that one brings a katos. They both must bring a third katos, and Rav Yossi says any katos that comes from sin, two may not bring it.
Okay.
And Lewis, if one said to a borrower, where is my bull? And he replied, it died, whereas in fact it broke a limb, was captured, stolen, or lost, and he replied, it broke a limb, whereas in fact it died, was captured, stolen, or lost, and he replied, it was captured, whereas in fact it died, broke a limb, and was stolen, or lost, and he replied, it was stolen, whereas in fact it died, broke a limb, was captured, or lost, he replied, it was lost, whereas in fact it died, broke a limb, it died and broke a limb, was captured or stolen. Then he said to him, I adore you, and he replied, Amen, and he is exempt. If he said to him, where is my bull? And he replied, I do not know what you're talking about, whereas in fact it died and broke a limb, was captured, stolen, or lost, and he said to him, I adore you, and he replied, Amen, he is liable. If one said to a paid shomer, to a renter, where is my bull? And he replied, it died, where in fact it broke a limb, or was captured, or he replied, it broke a limb, whereas in fact it died, it was captured, for he replied, it was captured, whereas in fact it died and broke a limb, or he replied, it was stolen, where in fact it was lost, or he replied, it was lost, whereas in fact it was stolen. And he said to him, I adore you, and he replied, Amen, he is exempt. But if he replied, I died, and it broke a limb, or was captured, whereas in fact it was stolen or lost, and he said to him, I adore you, and he replied, Amen, he's liable. If he replied, it is lost or it was stolen, whereas in fact it died, broke a limb, or was captured, and he said to him, I adore you, and he replied, Amen, he is exempt. This is the rule. Whoever changes from one liability to another liability, from one exemption to another exemption, or from exemption to a liability, an exempt from a liability to an exemption is liable. This is the rule. Whoever swears to make it more lenient for himself is liable to make it more stringent for himself, is exempt.
Maseches Shavuos. Okay, and Eliel's first Mishnah.
Shammai says all women, it suffices for them their time. But Beis Hillel says from examination to examination, even for many days. And the Chachamim say neither in accordance with the words of this one or neither in accordance with the words of that one. Rather, 24 hours reduces from examination to examination, and from examination to examination reduces 24 hours. Any woman who has a fixed period, it reduces for her time. When a woman is marital relations with examination course is the equivalent of an examination, it reduces 24 hours from examination to examination.
Okay.
And we have Thomas.
Highness.
Okay, Gimel. The men of the Mama would fast 4 days of the week, from Monday to Thursday. They would not fast on Friday because of the honor of do the Sabbath. So on Sunday, lest they go from rest and pleasure to toil and fast and become faint. On Sunday, they would read in the beginning and let there be a firmament. On Monday, let there be a firmament and let the waters gather. On Tuesday, let the waters gather and let there be luminaries. On Wednesday, let there be luminaries and let the waters swarm. On Thursday, let the waters swarm and let the earth bring forth. On Friday, let the earth bring forth and the heavens were completed. A long portion would be read by two people and a short one by one person. Sacrament at Musaf. At Mincha, they would enter the synagogue and recite the verses by heart, like those who read the Shema. On Friday at Mincha, they would not enter the synagogue because of the honor due the Sabbath. When anyone on any day when Hallow was expired, there was no Mamad at sacrifice. Whenever there is a Musaf sacrifice, there is no Mamad even at Nila. Wherever there is a wood offering, there is no Mamad at Mincha. This is what Rabbi Kiva's view. But Ba'azai said to him, Rabbi Yeshua would learn this way. Whenever there is a Musaf offering, there is no Mamad at Mincha. Whenever there is a wood offering, there is no Mamad at Nila. Rabbi Kiva retracted in order to comply with Rabbi Azai. The wood festival of the Kohanim and the people was celebrated 9 times a year. On the 1st of Nisan, the family of Ak of the tribe of Judah did so. On the 20th of Tammuz, the family of David of the tribe of Judah did so. On the 5th of Av, the family of Pharos of the tribe of Judah did so. On the 7th of the month, the family of Yonadab, the son of Rahab, did so. And on the 10th of that month, the family of Sinach of the tribe of Binyamin did so. On the 5th of that month, the family of Zatu of the tribe of Yehuda did so, and along with them were Hanim and Levium and anyone who was uncertain of his tribe, and the family of the pestle smugglers. The family of the fig cutters did so. On the 20th of that month, the family of Pakas Moab of the tribe of Judah did so, and on the 20th of El, the family of Adin of the tribe of Judah did so. On the 1st of Tevis, the family of Paros returned the second time, and on the 1st of Tevis, there was no Mamad since Hala was recited, and a Musaf sacrifice and a wood offering will be brought thereon.
Okay. Tomorrow we will finish Tanis and then we move on to Megillah.
Okay. It's getting to that time. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we're learning Megillah over Purim time. Isn't that nice?
It'd be very unusual, this Megillah, because this Purim, because of the way it comes out, because of the Tanis and all.
Yeah. Well, the Tanis will be on the Thursday.
Thursday, and then we'll have to wait till Sunday to read Megillah, I guess.
To my ches.
Right. If one okay, that's right. If one buys from not Zion, I thought I had Zion.
Ches.
Okay. Okay, so put it other way. Okay. If one buys from a wholesaler and then buys again, he should not you should recite tithes from one to the other.
Okay, you're in Zion. Go to Ches.
If one buys several from two places, he may tithe from one to the other, and all they said they were not sell tevel except in the case of a necessity. One may give tithe of a Jews for that, for a Jews for that, or a non-Jews, from a non-Jews for that of a Jew, from a Jews for that of a Kuthian, from Kuthians for that of a Kuthians, and Reb Eliyah forbids from a Kuthian for that of Kuthians. The perforated pot is as the earth. If he gave truma from the earth, from a perforated pot for the earth, his truma is truma. From a non-perforated pot for a perforated pot, one is truma, and he must give truma again. From a perforated one, from a non-perforated one is truma, but it may not be eaten until he separates trumas and maishos from it.
Okay, Yeshakayach. Thank you very much.
On to you.
Have a lovely day.
Tomorrow, I will. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Okay, right.
Today is Wednesday.
You're right. Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.